What's up, humans? How's it hanging? I'm the Nerdy Beard and welcome back to World of Warplanes, and today I am going to be featuring the DO-17Z, the Tier 4 German bomber. So as we start here, we're just going to have a look at the tech tree. So this branches off from the heavy fighter line here at the tier 3, and you come out and there's actually 3 bombers in this run, and then you meet the other part of the tech tree back in the attack aircraft here with the ME-265. So you can do, it is a sort of a bit of a long way around in order to progress there. Certainly if you are enjoying this line of fighters, keep going all the way down and just leave these ones over here for, I think, just something different every now and then. I'm not 100% sold on how bombers work in the game so far, but we'll explain it a little bit more and you can sort of see what I'm meaning. Okay, so the DO-17Z, as you can see, is a massive lump of an aircraft. It is big and it is slow. Now, what you get with this, though, is a huge body full of bombs. They are your primary and only source of offensive action. So these things, you have 20, 50 kilo bombs inside this thing for use during the round. And that's it. You've got nothing else that has an impact, really, that you are in control of. But what you've also got here, so in terms of defense, now these guns here, 7.92 millimeters, are they? Let me just check what we've got, sorry, while I'm doing this. Yeah, 7.92 millimeter, which is a whole bunch of them as well. Now, these are purely defensive guns. You've got 2 at the front here, 3 at the back of the cockpit, and 1 in a little bubble dome thing underneath here. Now, what I use these for primarily, and it's entirely up to how you want to think about it, is if I'm looking down my bomb scope, which you'll see in some gameplay coming up, and I start to hear these machine guns going off, I know I've got a problem. It's time for me to get out of the way. Even if I'm just about on target, you really don't have an opportunity to stay in a straight line for very long. If a fighter has gotten up to your altitude, or a heavy fighter has gotten up to your altitude, more importantly, you are not going to last very long because he's going to be right between your tails and you are going straight down. These things do not last very long in a prolonged fight. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've got here. They are going to basically annoy. You might get a few lucky shots and take out a pilot or a module of the attacking aircraft behind you or to the side, but they're not going to bring down a whole aircraft from full health to nothing. So don't rely on them to do that. And if you hear them going off, it's time for you to look at your minimap and start making moves and a big boost to get out of the way. So in terms of that boost, you have a whopping 45-second boost time, which is excellent. So what I suggest you do is to dive. Get right down, get below whatever's coming at you, and use the weight of the aircraft plus your boost to get some really good speed and then level off and get out of the way. So you're going to need all the speed you can get in order to get away from these very much smaller and much faster aircraft, and they are going to be after you because every single fighter in the game, as soon as they see a bomber, they lick their lips and think it's a free and easy kill, and realistically it is. As somebody who's just going in straight lines and not paying attention to their surroundings, yeah, you're basically going to spend the whole game in your respawn screen, which is, you don't want that at all, and you're going to have absolutely no fun. Okay, so we had a quick flick through earlier, words today, through the service and upgrades, so let's just jump back into there. So 4 available lines. These ones here are available with the specialist configuration, which is up here. So I don't quite have the experience in this aircraft or my pilots to quite do those yet. So maybe there's an opportunity for a second video once this thing is fully 100% upgraded. So in terms of your cockpit, now along the same theme as what I've been mentioning so far, there is absolutely no need for you to bring anything other than the fire extinguisher. And now that's, of course, my own personal opinion. But in terms of when this thing is getting hit, if you lose your pilot, it doesn't really matter because once your pilot and your engines and things start going, you're out of the game anyway. There's not going to be much longer. It's almost a 1 and 2 and dead count. You're gone. There's not a lot you can do about it. So potentially, if you do have the opportunity to get out of the way with that big boost, you're probably going to have something damaged or set fire anyway. So as a last ditch in terms of your escape, the fire extinguisher just might get you out of trouble. Having a first aid kit is really not going to help you very much. It gives you back 5 to 10% of your maneuverability, but it doesn't really repair anything you need for the long term. You can get away with not being able to turn so fast in this thing. You really can't get away with having modules that are cooking. It's so it's kind of a no-brainer for me. You're not here to maneuver. You're not here to do great feats of acrobatics with your pilot, so he can be injured until your next respawn or to your next game but having your engines, especially in as good a condition as you can get them, is very important. So here we have a look here. We have a couple of options with the engine, and carrying on with that same theme, speed really isn't much use to you. You gain a small boost, so 2% of acceleration without boost and 1% cruise speed, but then you gain a minus 5% resistance to fire, and keeping your hit points is much more important than speed in this aircraft, especially when you can use the weight of it to dive. With the massive boost, you're going to get that speed anyway. So upgraded engine is a complete waste of credits. Likewise with the lightweight power unit. Turning left and right and maneuverability in turns isn't going to save you because you're bigger and slower anyway. And 3% resistance to damage for your engines. It's basically just asking for you to get damaged more quicker, more quicker, and basically, yeah, it's going to end your turn very quickly. So that one is also a complete waste of time, which then leaves you here with engine armor protection. Now, it does lower your maximum speed with a boost activated by 1%. But it gives you a full 10% resistance to damage, and your engines especially are the only things that are going to pull you through a tight situation when things start to go a little bit wrong or you spend a little bit too much time flying in a straight line. So for me, this is an absolute no-brainer. Stock engine armor protection. This is 100% the way to go. Put it on. Fantastic. So that's a full 10% resistance to damage, which could be the big difference between whether you are able to approach a captured or a neutral site and be able to take those ground AA gun hits just a little bit more to keep you on target and get those bombs away. Alrighty, so then we here have the outboard weapon. Now obviously the outboard weapons are the bombs underneath here, and having a look at those, I don't ever load gold. I just hate the whole premise of gold. But having a slight upgrade with credits that I have earned in game, I'll take it. So improved fragmentation. Let's have that. Increased bomb damage caused by bombs and rockets. I will take that. Could be the difference between getting a whole row of buildings and only getting 2 or 3 of them and having to turn around and come back and go again. So let's apply that. Good to go. Alrighty, so that's all that taken care of. It is a bit of a lengthy setup, and more so because I haven't featured anything like it. We can't just sort of go, oh, as you saw before in the previous video. Okay, so jumping into upgrades just quickly before everyone gets bored and goes to sleep of me talking without things blowing up. 3 options here for the engines. Obviously, I have the biggest one, no airframe upgrade. And these other upgrades are kind of a no-brainer. Why would you have one when you can have 2? Why would you have one when you can have 3? And then the bottom turret is there anyway, and you don't get an upgrade on the bombs. You just have the 20, 50 kilo bombs. And that's pretty much it. Alrighty guys, so I'm going to jump into a game, and hopefully I can show off everything that I was talking about in terms of its maneuverability and its firepower, and just how fragile it can actually be when it gets into a fight. Alrighty, back in a sec. Let's roll. Alrighty guys, so after all my waffling on in the hangar, let's get into some gameplay. So let's have a quick look here. I'm probably going to go straight up here and then to this airfield. So basically everything else is the same in terms of your flying. You move the mouse or the joystick as you prefer, and the nose goes there. So you can see here, this thing just lopes around. It is not a maneuverable aircraft, but getting along at just short of 300 kilometers an hour there, and it's not so uncomfortable up here at 1900 meters. So you can see there, as you can see right ahead of me, that aircraft above me is copping some anti-aircraft fire, so that's not really good for this height. Okay, so here we are, just short of 2 kilometers off the ground, and I've hit shift to go into my bomb view, and you can actually manipulate your direction by going to the left and the right of where the center part of this reticle is here. Now what you want to do is line up, and you need to hit the space bar 1 time, or whatever you got set, to load off a salvo of bombs. And there it goes. So what you want to do is line yourself up and release as best you can on what's in front of you or below you, and you can hear there, see my guns are actually starting to go off, and I've got an enemy on the tail, so it is time to go. And let's see if we can showcase this excellent boost. I'm going to roll it over and get some speed. I'm going to go straight down, and hopefully it's just a defensive aircraft, and you can see there, look at my speed doubled now almost already, and oh yep, so I just made it, but there we go. So that's a very good example of basically what happens now. Now that is a heavy fighter behind me, and it absolutely chewed me up. And I started that whole thing 2 kilometers off the ground, so that is a long way up. So keep that in mind, guys. I could hear my guns going off, but it really wasn't a long time before when starting to get hit to when I was down in flames. So let's see if we can do that again and actually get some traction on this. So let's have a quick look. So we only hit one little bit of bombs there, and it gave us just short of 500 points. So you can see if a good bombing run can actually be quite lucrative. It does give you some combat points quite quickly, and when you take out a whole cluster of buildings like that, it is very, very similar to taking out a defensive aircraft. You get a lot of points and a lot of influence on that capture point. So here we go, loping in again. So I'm just going to put a bit of a boost, and you can see there just above the cockpit the 45 seconds boost. Now what I'm also going to do is just go down a little bit, so I'm going to reduce the altitude. Now the higher, the more outside of the normal range that the aircraft likes to operate in, the worse the spread of bombs is going to actually be. So you want to be as close as you can to where the aircraft finds itself most comfortable. So there, 1500 meters is that target we're looking at. And when you go into the bomb view, so hitting shift here, it actually levels out the plane. So you don't actually need to bother about whether you're going left or right, up or down. It'll just sort of do it for you manually, which is very, very helpful when you've got all this aiming and dropping to be doing. Okay, so that's that done, and you can notice there immediately the bombs go into a reload, and it is much faster than on a normal multi-role aircraft, for example. Okay, so I think, yep, there we go. So you can see there's the points racking up very quickly. So I got 2 ground targets there with those salvos, and did quite well points-wise. Now, I'm getting stuck here in the anti-aircraft fire, so turn away, get some altitude with these big, powerful engines. They will drag you at a reasonable speed, and hopefully get outside of the area of effect. So there we go. Now, what I'm also going to do is, you can notice there in the bottom right-hand side, in the mini-map, there's a lot of red in there, so I do not want to be anywhere near that. So while I reload, and I don't have very long to go, let me just see if it'll tell me. About 8 seconds, so that's alright. So I'm going to head over here, and I'm going to make a bit of a nuisance of myself over in this general direction. So while that area there is under attack from the bad guys, from the red team, I'm going to come over here and put some pressure on this cap. Now I'll stay hopefully not too much lower than my 1400 meters, and keeping where that'll hurt if he wants to come down near me. So let's do this a little bit quicker. Let's put some speed in. And yeah, as I was mentioning in the I'm in trouble, he's coming. Okay, so as I was mentioning in the hangar, it's very much a playstyle that will suit some people and will really, really annoy others. So it's very good to showcase the fact that there's actually a lot of action happening. There's 5 points, and it's backwards and forwards quite well. If this was a game with 3 points and your team dominated from the start, you would have absolutely nothing to do. But you can see here, I'm getting these bombs away. Hopefully, yeah, look at that, straight in the middle there. We can actually see as they come down. Oh, a bit of a miss on that one. We'll see as we go through what's happening here. Now, this is a bit dangerous, straight lines. Okay, so I didn't do all that well with those ones, so maybe I needed to be a little bit closer or be going a little bit slower. But because I've been in a straight line for a while now, I'm just going to boost away, get a bit of distance on myself, and then come in again. Now, I'm also going to give it a little bit less altitude, so I'm going to approach from a bit closer to the ground and see if that makes a difference. And yeah, I'm hearing my aircraft getting peppered here, so if I can fix up this point here, capture it for the good guys. Okay, very good. That's away. Pilot's injured. And there's the aircraft out again. So it's a bit of a gamble there. You've got to decide whether you want to get low to the ground and hopefully finish off that target, or take it out completely, or stay up nice and high and just sort of risk the fact that you may actually miss quite a bit. Now, I think that was actually an actual play that took me out there as well, which also makes a very big difference. The accuracy is so much better than what it normally would be. Okay, so from this point, I'm going to come in down here, and I am going to go for that middle section. Now, it is also a little bit dangerous, so taking into account that I'm not overly experienced with this type of aircraft, and I'm going to be surrounded by the look of it, it could be a bit dangerous. So you can see there's only one of my teammates here, and a lot spread around, so it probably would have been more smart for me to go over here, but we'll see how we go. So this time I'm actually going to go up nice and high, and you see, even though it looks like there's some 2 very good players on my team, some actual real players for a change, which is fantastic. I'm actually still up there in the points, so I've done just short of 3,000 points, and I haven't really affected a lot of the game. So chevrons wise, bombers can be a bit of a disaster unless you're really, really accurate. And I suppose accuracy comes with time and a bit of experience. What am I doing? I'm loading. Okay, so I don't actually have any bombs, so I'm going to slow down just a touch. I only need a handful more seconds. There we go. Okay, so let's see how we go here. So line up nice and straight, and let's get those bombs away. So that's out. Now I'm going to come over here and take out that last section there, unless my friend crashes into it. Nope. Okay, so this is going to be ours here. And bombs away. Alright, now I'm under fire, but it's okay, because that's from the ground. Now I'm going to come see if I can swing her around this way. And I'm actually going to drop 2 lots of bombs on that. Hopefully, we can get a good result. Now I'm off target, so back into the flight. I'm going to boost away and then get myself around at a big turn and hopefully line up on whatever I've missed there. So there's a little bit of a strategy here, and mostly it is all about ignoring everything else that's going around you and just trying to line up as best you can with your targets on the ground, while at the same time not presenting too much of an easy target for what's following you. Okay, so 4 more bombs left. Let's see how we go. Hopefully we can get this, and then we can really give our allies a good stepping block to capturing this middle point here. Alright, so my guns are firing, and I'm out of here. Nice long boost, and remember, in this it's doubly important. Excellent, got some points. Alright, so doubly important, as I was saying, is to not give the AI in the AA, yeah, I think I said that right, chance to zone in on your direction. So when you're boosting, nice big loopy turns, don't let them get a track on where you're heading, because that accuracy of their ground fire is going to increase exponentially the more straight lines you fly. Okay, so what do we got here? So we've got 18 seconds, 17. Alright, so probably just a guesstimate, let's do that there. So another big turn, and this seems to be a good altitude, about 1700 meters. This seems to have done quite well for us. We were quite accurate in that last run. So let's give it another go. Alrighty, and as we turn in, the bombs are almost reloaded, so let's have a look and see what we've got. So I'm going to come in on those anti-aircraft guns, make my way through the middle, and then take out that last lot of anti-aircraft up the top there. If you can see, that looks like a home plate symbol just there. Alrighty, so something on our team has also had a really big impact on that sector, so hopefully only one or two. Oh, never mind, it's all good. Thank you very much. I think that is a real player down there. You can see by the symbol he is a very experienced player in that aircraft, and there we go. So it leads me to my final point here in this this particular bomber, and in the particular playstyle, is now that I've had no ability to affect this cap, you kind of just sightseeing for a little while, and I don't really know if I like that. I'm always enjoying flying, and I love water warplanes. That's fine, and I'm more than happy to look out the window. But if you're just here is to kill a few bad guys and spend a bit of time playing a game, you might find yourself not really doing a whole lot with your time if something like what just happened occurred. You're right away on the other side of the map sometimes even, and you really don't have an opportunity to get there because this thing is so slow and it's so big and hard to maneuver occasionally. Sometimes with plenty of space you can turn it, but like that example there, it's been almost a minute since I've actually done anything in this game, which can really frustrate some people who don't really have the patience for that sort of thing. So keep that in mind for sure. So I'm going to put 2 sets of bombs on this target here, take out this anti-aircraft over here, swing around, and hopefully we should have done quite well out of this area. So there it is. Okay, 4 more bombs left. I'm going to boost out the way and basically rinse and repeat as I've done for this whole game. Going to get some distance between myself and whatever targets are left, turn it around, and hopefully we can get this point and yeah, hopefully secure this game. So it's looking close. Like if we get another point, it's certainly in the balance. Okay, so it doesn't really look like I did a whole lot to that A point there. That sucks a little bit. All right, let me see if I can get this out. A well-placed lot of bombs here, and we are looking good. So there we go. That's the 4 of them out, and someone's coming up behind me. So time to go. All right, let's go. Take use of that excellent boost time, 45 seconds. Absolutely love it. Okay, and I think we are all right. So well outside of the range of that Phantom. Well outside of the range of that Phantom's guns. So that's good to go. So we're going to enjoy another 30 seconds of boost time there. But let's not get too far away because I'm going to need to swing around soon and start dropping some more bombs. So I've got a bit more time. What have I got left? 20 seconds. So almost there, and they're starting to close in on me. So it's getting a little dicey now. But we really need to try, for the team's sake, and capture this last point and slow their progression of points. So here we go. Let's get in there. How far away are we? Okay. Oh, it's getting close. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to make a difference here, but let's see how we go. All right. So I'm going to take this section out. No, not quite. Okay. So yeah, we got some points. We did a little bit there, but yeah, it's still disappointing. So you can see from that there, absolutely no chevrons whatsoever. Didn't really have a huge impact on the game. So I'm going to jump back into the hangar, guys, and we'll have a look at how we did. Alrighty, here we are. So back in the hangar, and it was unfortunately a defeat, but you can't really do that. I wish there was a way to get a win for every video, but who cares? We managed to show off everything that I was actually hoping to, and have a good explanation of my thoughts and how the playstyle goes. So here we are here, 28,000 credits, 855 XP, and 42 for XP. So that side of things isn't too bad. Have a look at the personal score here. So personal points, yeah, okay, we'll get into that in the next screen. Damage to aerial targets. So we actually did 76 damage to aerial targets, and those guns were firing almost constantly there at the end, and they really just weren't putting out any damage. So what I mentioned at the start of the video really comes through there. Do not rely on those things at all, except to tell you that you're in trouble. Okay, then from this point, we have 26,228 damage to ground targets. Now, bear in mind that we didn't do a whole lot in terms of capture points, and we didn't get any chevrons. That is a huge amount of damage. And for an aircraft that spends a lot of its time reloading, turning, or being in a little bit of trouble and maybe having to get out of the way, that is pretty good. So, and you can see there, I'm actually not overly that good at these. Yeah, I've played a few. I've played enough of them to get it upgraded, and that was probably one of my better games even. And 26,000, I think that's awesome. Having said that, there's no real impact on the team, but you know, it depends. That's sort of one of those things that takes your experience earned a little bit higher than you would think, especially for a loss. Okay, and jumping into the team score here, so we have these absolute superheroes on either team. Well done, you two. You basically took the control of the game away from everybody else and made that a fantastic effort. And unfortunately for Wolf Wiz here, excellent scoring there. All the combat badges you could possibly get. Brilliant work. But you see here, we ended up on 6,205 combat points. And for what seemed like to have not much of an impact, that's still a lot of points. Unfortunately, no chevrons, but there we go. So I think there what you've got is potential to maybe have one or two bombers in your hangar for purposes of crew training and gaining XP or even free XP that you can then convert into other aircraft. So the amount of damage that you do can kind of be offset there by the amount of experience that you gain for that, not necessarily the experience in this particular aircraft. Alrighty guys, well that's about it for me. This is, I know it's been a long one as I've been waffling on about the bits and pieces, but I really did want to distinguish the very different playstyles between the bombers and all the other aircraft in the game. I hope you've liked what you're seeing, guys. Any tips or tricks you've got for me, any of you other bomber players out there, please feel free to sound off in the comments. I would love to hear your theories on how I can make these aircraft work for me like I do with those fighters. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm the Nerdy Beard. Take it easy.